too far as auspicious to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran and to hold the administration in Washington accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter and of norms of international law. The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evident bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors to immediately convene and carry out its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous US attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States which, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy by supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation and aggression against the people of Iran. In doing so, the US administration holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter. In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security, interests, and people. Thank you very much.
We will now be taking questions. We'd like to start with the Associated Press.
Sayın Bakan, müzakere kapıları hala açık mı görüyorsunuz? Tamam. Şimdi ses geliyor mu? Sayın Bakan, müzakere hala kapıyı açık mı görüyorsunuz? Hadi değil mi?
No translation. Interpreter, please speak.
Bakan Arapça biliyor mu? Direkt Arapça sorabilirim.
If I may just step in here and just translate real quick for my colleague. He's asking if there are still room for negotiations moving forward.
No.
Arapça olarak diye sorabilirim eğer Arapça biliyorsa.
It's all right now. You can translate is okay.
Türkçe mi? Sayın Bakan, Ahmet Gannam من التلفزيون العربي. Müzakerelere hala kapı açık mı görüyorsunuz? Tahran'la görüşmüş müydünüz? Bugün nükleer tesislere vurulan nükleer tesislere ne kadar yüzde kaç bir zarar görmüştür? Arabuluculuk yapan bir ülke var mı? Görüştüğünüz bölgedeki ülkelerle, Türkiye, Suudi Arabistan, Katar gibi ülkelerle görüşüyor musunuz? Arabuluculuk devam ediyor mu, devam etmiyor mu? Nasıl görüyorsunuz bu süreci? Teşekkür ederiz.
Well, I have been in touch with Tehran, of course. I still do not have exact information about the level of damages, but I don't think it matters how much damages have been made. Attacking a nuclear facility by itself is an unforgivable violation of international law and should be condemned. Yesterday, as I said, I had discussion and talks with a number of foreign ministers of the region. Almost all of them are very much concerned and interested to play a role to end this aggression by Israel, of course. They were worried about a possible attack by the United States, but yesterday we were all talking about how to stop the Israeli aggression. Well, of course, the door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now. My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond based on our legitimate right of self-defense. And we will do that as long as needed and necessary.
We'd now like to take a question from Al Jazeera.
Thank you very much, Minister. So you say that you need to respond right now, but we know that Iranians are known for their talents in negotiations, in diplomacy and trade. What would be the conditions after responding for Iran to come back to a negotiation table, maybe with the US as well? And Turkey has been offering that Ankara can mediate for a trilateral between Turkey, US, and Iran. What would be your response to that? Because right now the US is technically involved in this conflict. Thank you.
Well, I think it is irrelevant to ask Iran to return to diplomacy because we were in the middle of diplomacy. We were in the middle of talks with the United States when Israelis blew it up. And again, we were in the middle of talks and negotiation with Europeans, happened only 2 days ago in Geneva, when this time Americans decided to blow it up. So we were in diplomacy, but we were attacked militarily. So it was not Iran, but the US who betrayed diplomacy. They betrayed negotiations. When at the middle of negotiations with us, they gave green light to Israelis, if not instructed them to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. I think they have proved that they are not men of diplomacy, and they only understand the language of threat and force, and this is very unfortunate. The United States showed that they have no respect to United Nations Charter, they have no respect to international law, they have no respect to any international law regarding, managing the world and facing challenges of the world. There is no red line that they have not crossed. And the last one, and the most dangerous one, happened only last night, when they crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities. I don't know how much room is left for diplomacy. We are now calculating the damages. And as I said, the damages are not only for our nuclear facilities, the damages are for the United Nations Charter. It was not only Iran's facilities which was bombed, it was also the United Nations Charter. It was also non-proliferation regime and NPT which was bombed last night by Americans. And it was the rule of law and international law which was bombed. So now we have to see how much room is left for diplomacy, and we will decide.
I'd like to hand over to TRT World.
Mr. Minister, the US President Donald Trump warned that Iran must now make peace, otherwise the future attacks, he says, would be far greater and much easier. So how is Tehran responding to death threats from Washington? Thank you.
I think it's not up to Iran to respond to that. The whole international community should respond of such a clear threat against the United Nations Charter. Iran has done nothing wrong. We do not understand why Iran should be attacked for a false accusation that Iran is seeking nuclear weapons. It's now more than 20 years that we are trying to prove that our peaceful nuclear program is in fact peaceful and would remain peaceful. We negotiated for a long time with the so-called P5+1, and we came to a deal which the whole world celebrated as an achievement of diplomacy. And then it was the US who withdrew from that deal and reimposed their sanctions and restarted their threats. Again, we were negotiating with the same administration. Then all of a sudden they decided to attack us, first by Israelis, then by themselves. And now they are threatening us for more attacks. So it's not up to Iran, but it's up to international community to condemn this, to prevent this. Otherwise, there would be nothing left for the international law, for the security at the world level. The Security Council should play its role, should play its responsibility to condemn and prevent these kind of threats. We will certainly defend our interest. We will certainly defend our territorial integrity, our sovereignty, and our people. And I'm so glad that our people are now fully understand what injustice they are doing against the Iranian people. They are united and in solidarity with the government, and we stand firm against any aggression.
Next, CNN Türk.
Mr. Minister, how do you assess the West's stance on Israel massacres? No one seems to mention Israel's allegedly illegal nuclear weapons. The German Chancellor even said Israel is doing the dirty work for us. So what is your response? Thank you.
Well, what should I say? You said everything. That Iran is under attack by a nuclear-armed superpower and a nuclear-armed regime. And Iran, as you know, is a non-nuclear-armed country. That should be certainly condemned. If not, the whole non-proliferation regime would be undermined and would be defeated. Iran is a committed member of NPT. But NPT is not able to protect us. So why a country like Iran or other countries who are interested to have a peaceful nuclear energy should rely on NPT for their peaceful activities. It is very unfortunate that Israel is doing, as the German Chancellor called, a dirty job. And by the way, they supported that dirty job. It's a shame. They know that Israel is doing a dirty job and they support it, and they give it every right to do it, and they call it defending itself. It's really a shame. Pardon? Well, I think I'm not in a position to reveal what we are going to do in response to what Americans did last night. I just talked about the fact that NPT failed to protect Iran from and its peaceful nuclear program, and this is a serious challenge.
Next, we'd like to take a question from IRIB. IRIB, if I can get a question from IRIB.
Yılmaz Parlar, Türker Gazete, Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nde çıkan gazete, bir de Net Haber Ajans. Sayın Bakan, Çin'in İran'a destek verdiği söyleniyor. Bu konuda Amerika ve İsrail'in tarafından cahilce olmasını nasıl değerlendiriyorsunuz? Bir de Rusya ile olan ilişkiler, münasebetleri, beklentilerinizi öğrenebilir miyim? Teşekkür ediyorum.
Well, there was a problem with the translation, or I think with the device, it doesn't work properly. I understood the last part of your question. Well, I'm going to Moscow this afternoon, and I have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow morning. Russia is a friend of Iran, and we enjoy a strategic partnership, and we always consult with each other and coordinate our positions. Russia has been a part and the participants of JCPOA, so they have been always a party to nuclear negotiations. And even in the past 2-3 months that we were negotiating with the United States, we always briefed our Russian friends about the latest about any progress or lack of progress in our talks. Well, I will have serious consultations with the Russian president tomorrow, and we continue to work with each other. Russia is also a permanent member of the Security Council, and we know that they were trying, together with China, to introduce a resolution to the Security Council for the cessation of hostilities. Obviously, now the situation has been changed, and I will have discussion with them that how it should be proceed.
The final question from IRIB, if we can hand over the microphone to the gentleman right there. Thank you.
خسته نباشید آقای عراقچی. عرض به خدمتتون که دیروز آقای اردوغان صحبت‌هایی داشتن در مورد میانجیگری. فکر می‌کنید نقش ترکیه در این رابطه به چه ترتیب خواهد بود؟ میتونه ترکیه در واقع در این رابطه نقش ایفا بکنه برای حل این مسائل و سرگیری دیپلماسی، یا می‌کنه که بی‌ثمر باشه؟
من دیروز ملاقات بسیار خوبی رو با جناب آقای اردوغان رئیس جمهور محترم ترکیه داشتم. هم ترکیه و هم برخی کشورهای دیگه در منطقه خواهان ایفای نقش مثبت برای خاتمه تجاوزات رژیم صهیونیستی به ایران بودند و من اطمینان دارم که از امروز هم تلاش‌های جدیدی رو شاید شروع بکنن برای جلوگیری از ادامه مخاصمه توسط آمریکا. ترکیه با قاطعیت حملات اسرائیل رو محکوم کرد. کشورهای دیگه منطقه هم همینطور. الان یک محکومیت جامع در کل منطقه و بین کشورهای اسلامی وجود داره در محکومیت جنایات اسرائیل. ما دیروز یک جلسه خاص تجاوز اسرائیل به ایران رو در نشست وزرای امور خارجه کشورهای اسلامی داشتیم که جلسه بسیار خوبی بود. کشورهای متعددی در این جلسه صحبت کردند، از جمله ترکیه که ریاست جلسه رو هم به عهده داشت، در محکومیت جنایات اسرائیل و در ضرورت توقف این تهاجم و از جمهوری اسلامی ایران حمایت کردند. حمله دیشب یک جنایت بسیار بزرگ بود، نه فقط علیه ملت ایران بلکه علیه منشور ملل متحد، علیه تمامی قوانین و مقررات بین الملل، علیه نظام عدم اشاعه و آمریکا با این کار خودش ضربه بسیار بزرگی رو به صلح و امنیت بین الملل زد. به اعتقاد ما آنچه که شورای امنیت و جامعه بین الملل باید باهاش به عنوان تهدید علیه صلح و امنیت بین الملل برخورد بکنه، دقیقاً رفتار آمریکاست که هم نظام بین الملل رو به چالش کشیده و هم منطقه ما رو به سمت تنش و آشوب پیش میبره و این بسیار خطرناک هست. حمله دیشب آمریکا نشان داد که اسرائیل، رژیم صهیونیستی، در رسیدن به اهداف خودش در ایران ناکام مانده و برعکس به خاطر صدماتی که متحمل شده در اثر دفاع قهرمانان نیروهای مسلح ایران در شرایط بحران قرار گرفته و چاره‌ای جز این که از آمریکا کمک بخواد نداشته و دخالت آمریکا دقیقاً برای نجات رژیم صهیونیستی یا بهتره بگیم نجات نخست وزیر این رژیم صورت گرفت و اینکه چقدر کاخ سفید تحت تاثیر شخص نتانیاهو قرار داره باید باعث تأسف و خجالت برای کل مردم آمریکا باشه. ما به دفاع قهرمانانه خودمون ادامه خواهیم داد. نیروهای مسلح ما در آمادگی کامل قرار دارند. مردم ما با اعتماد به نفس و روحیه بالا هستند. غرور ملی ایران جریحه‌دار شده. غرور ملی ایرانیان خدشه‌دار شده و ما هرگز از حقوق و منافع خودمون و عزت خودمون و حیثیت خودمون کوتاه نخواهیم آمد. از توجه شما بسیار متشکرم.
We do have time for one or two more questions. I'd like to hand over to Bloomberg Haberturk.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much for doing this. Senal Khan from Haberturk and Bloomberg HT. You said attacks at nuclear facilities are red line and you are calculating your response. So here is the question. what are the options? Are you going to retaliate at US bases in the region, or are you going to considering to close the Strait of Hormuz? And one more question as well. 2 times while you are at the table of negotiation, Israel and US attacked your soil. So do you still have the same level of trust to Western diplomacy? Thank you.
There are a variety of options available to us, and that's it. We never trusted Western countries when we negotiated them, and there are now even more reasons why we shouldn't trust them at all. Of course, the way for diplomacy should be always remain open. But as I said, we are not in the situation right now to decide how to engage in diplomacy once again and with whom. So let's wait for our response first. And when the aggression is ended, we decide how to engage in diplomacy once again.
Next, over to NTV.
Mr. Minister, thank you. I would like to ask a quick question. You had many dialogues with Mr. Steve Witkoff, the U.S. representative, during the negotiations. Did he call you after the attack? Who you talked with? Did you ever talk with any Western countries or United States? Did they call you? Thank you.
Well, my talks with Mr. Witkoff was indirect through the Omani foreign minister as intermediator, to whom I'm very grateful. And when the talks were stopped because of the US aggression, we are still receiving messages from Americans through different channels, Oman in particular, and there are also others who are passing the messages of the United States to us. And if needed, we respond to those messages through intermediators. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I think we are done.
Yes, we've come to the end of that press briefing. We'd like to thank the foreign minister for holding that briefing after the latest developments in his country, Iran, and in the wider Middle East region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you indeed.